Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you be watching this transmission. Tis I, Mike Martins. Well, America's new best friend, Elizabeth Warren. She's found an angle to try and win the presidential run for 2020. And her angle is, if people all over watching this that are not sure, that are not from America, she's looking to erase 42 million Americans' college debt. With, of course, taxpayers' money. And it's kind of funny that the people that couldn't afford to go to college and school and like to go to college and university and stuff are flipping the bill for those that did. How does that make you feel? When I was young, when I finished high school, my parents were like, you know what? It's kind of pricey to send you to college. Go to community college or do something technical. Because I wasn't a book guy. I wasn't a whole. I just wasn't. The academics weren't there. I could barely read, right? So there was no point, right? So I did really well in life. I traveled. I'd lived in all kinds of places, and I've done my traveling. I've done my retirement already through opening a very successful business on the coast that allowed me to take 2 months off, 3 months off every year to travel to Asia, South America, Central America, just all kinds of places and just spend time and meet friends. And man, do I have a huge, just see my passport's littered with stamps. I think it's going to expire. But anyways, enjoying my Tim Hortons coffee here that I picked up in the morning. 57% of Americans who've already paid off their student loans support Elizabeth Warren's plan to cancel 42 million Americans' college debt. Are you serious? So the people that didn't get to go to college or couldn't afford to go to college have to pay for the ones that did. You got to be joking me. They make it seem like, oh, I'm just going to erase it for you. No, it's the working poor that didn't go to college that's going to pay for it. Senator Elizabeth Warren, the Massachusetts Democrat at the 2020 presidential candidate, made headlines last week when she unveiled an ambitious proposal to cancel student loan debt and make public college free for all. Now, here's the problem with doing something like this. There's a big problem with doing this. One, how are they going to fund the economy? Because I don't know if you guys understand, the whole college thing is like a recycling emblem. Get an education, make more money, and then go down to the next arrow. You know, they've got the top arrow and the recycling, right? Goes down. Get college to go get good grades in high school. Get accepted to a great college, and then the recycling goes up, and then it says, then it would say, find the job of your dreams, earn more. But then what they kept out of that whole recycling loop is no jobs are waiting for you after you graduate from college or university. That's what they're missing from the equation here. So people that bought into that whole thing, thinking that they're going to do better in life, some people have, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people are drowning in debt still. Even the people that are doing well and having a decent income, they're still drowning in debt. Should education be free? Hell yeah, but it should have been free from the start. Not, down the road that everyone already got their education and it's like, yeah, for those that didn't, well, you're have-nots anyway. Let's pay for these people. They're more prominent, right? Or that kind of, you know what I'm saying? So that's disgusting. Now, in Canada, we could never do that. And I want to see the whole Canadian Parliament. Let's say she does this. She won't. And she won't even get voted in. But let's say she gets enough. Let's say she gets in. Let's pretend, okay? The whole Canadian Parliament is going to do this. Yeah, that never happened. Because the amount of people that I know personally that are in student loan debt. You see, I was the guy at the class that everyone made fun of because I couldn't read. And people would make fun of me all the time and throw garbage at me and say I wasn't going to go nowhere in life. And, man, did I ever go somewhere, man. I lived in Miami. I lived in Mexico for 2 years. Lived in Miami for a bunch of years. I've lived in Vancouver. Now I live in a small town called Merritt. I've traveled everywhere. And people are like, Mike, why do you kind of like gauge travel as a gauge of accomplishments in life? Why do you gauge travel as if something like you've achieved, like buy a house or something? Well, Because there's only one thing my dad still tells me to this day. There's only one thing you take with you when you die, and it's your memories. Your memories go with you. That's all that goes with you. Nothing else goes with you but your memories. And make them good. And I've done that, you know? So, Canada couldn't do it because it's funding our economy. Our student loans, just like the U.S., went all federal. Banks used to lend out money to student loaners. People that needed a loan for school, they would go into the bank with their report card, I think it was, and then a letter of acceptance from the university. Then the university would go ahead, and then people could shop around for better rates with banks. But then the government said, no, we're going to federalize it and give everybody a student loan. And that's what they did. Now, they're chasing people down to pay student loans in other countries. It's phenomenal. A new insider poll found that 57% of Americans at least somewhat support Warren's plan to cancel $42 million in American student loan debt. 42 million American student loan debt, not $42 million. 42 million American student loan debt, and the plan even found a majority support of 57% among respondents who've already finished paying off their student loan debt. A solid majority of America will pay. We already read this. The Massachusetts Democrat proposal will forgive $50,000 in student loan debt for every American whose family makes up to 100 large. So you have to actually be benefiting from the student loan and be making $100,000 to get your debt abolished. And households that make between $100 to $250 would get a sliding portion of their debt canceled. In addition, Warren's plan would make all public higher education, including community college, tuition and fee-free. Insider poll found that 82% of Americans who are currently paying off student loans support Warren's plan to forgive their debt. Notably, a majority of respondents, 54%, who didn't take out student loans to pay for higher education, support the plan, as do 53% who didn't attend college or graduate school. Overall, 57% of Americans at least somewhat support the 2020 candidates debate cancellation proposal, and 21% oppose the measure. 13% of respondents did not either support or oppose the idea, while 9% said they didn't know how they felt about the plan. Warren's plan is a vast scope. It would eliminate all student debt for 75% of Americans who have it, and get rid of at least some debt for 95% of the almost 45 million affected Americans, according to the Analysis for Social Policy professor released on Warren's campaign. The poll also found deep support among Democratic primary voters. 77% of Democrats who said they'd likely vote in the 2020 presidential primary were either somewhat or strongly supportive of the proposal of debt cancellation. So this could be the biggest. Housing is the in America, not too much of a big deal right now. It's not too much of a big deal right now. So in America though, but in Australia, New Zealand, UK, every parliamentary official is basing their political platforms on housing. In the States, it's obviously more of a student loan problem they have, because they really pushed that whole pharmaceutical. Do you remember that pharmaceutical thing where they were creating a fake bubble of pharmaceutical student loan? I'll look it up for you guys. Watch. Pharmaceutical student loan lie. Let's see if it lies about pharmacist jobs needed. Yeah, here it is. How pharmacy graduates can get rid of 100K student loans. No, that's something else. I'm just trying to say. There was a huge bubble. There was a huge lie that was going on for a long time. Do you believe some of these lies are being written regarding the lack of opportunities of pharmacists? These lies are trying to scare people off from paying the pharmacy school because the fear that the supply will overtake demand. No, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. There was this pharmaceutical. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, leave it. Um, uh, student loan, pharmaceutical student loan bubble. It wasn't a bubble. It was they created this demand. Let's see, fake demand. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. So, yeah, it's gone. So what they did was they actually, because it's on Google, Google erases all important stuff like that. So what happened was, see, 100 years ago, there won't be people to tell these stories in 100 years because we'll all be dead in 100 years. And people are going to believe Google. And that's the problem. Anyways, so a bunch of people, there were all these advertisings that pharmaceutical companies with all the baby boomers, they need more pharmacists, get your student loans, and they were promoting a specific college for this too. And all these people would apply and go to this college to be pharmacists and stuff. And it was a lie. And all these people graduated. 3 years later, they still were out of work. It was a disaster. And yeah, they were fighting to get their money back and stuff. Yeah, that happened. That actually happened. Even though I can't find it here on Google, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, but it did happen. And it was a huge, fake demand that they created. It was a fake demand. Let's see if I can find it through images. Filled with empty promises, falsified. Yeah, I'm just trying to. If you find it, guys, leave a link below if there's a video. If it didn't get taken down by YouTube. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. So now my question is to the part of this that I'm trying to figure out is, okay, then who's gonna fund this? Who's going to fund the infrastructure if people aren't paying their student loans back? Because that money is federal, so that money actually supports, those student loans actually support your roads and everything. It doesn't, I mean most of your students that took and got education out of and got their graduates and graduated and became whatever they did, if they can't find a job, the federal government doesn't really care. They want their money back, right? So how are they going to fund the infrastructure, the private sector? Because a lot of it comes housing. Let's find out what it is. Student loan debt in America. Remember, guys, I'm script free. $1.5 trillion, 44.2 million borrowers now owe $1.5 trillion. So, wow, 200,000 plus, there's there. 150 to 200,000. Wow, look at that. 100,000 to 150, then 50,000 to 100,000 is 9% of that pie. And then 25 to 50,000, 17.7% of that pie. Oh, man. Oh, man. Now, let's factor in everything. Student loan debt has surpassed both credit card and auto loan debt. It has. Why? Because people believe into that whole fake narrative. The fake narrative about, oh, no, this is nice. Oh, that's so nice. Hi. Oh, single girls. Okay, yeah, so student loan debt has surpassed both credit card and auto loan debt. Go figure. Why? It has to. Because they sold you that narrative. They pushed hard. You know how much they paid for that advertising? And they pushed colleges to raise the raise the price on books and raise the price of tuition and raise the price on all kinds of crap. Why? They had to. Because it's a way to scam the common person, thinking that, yes, my dad always told me education was the way. Well, because your dad and your great-granddad never went to school or couldn't afford to go to school at the time, and they wish they did. Because you know what I'm saying, right? It's always that whole mentality, right? Of wish I could, feel left out, never made it, and that whole symptom of missed out in life type of thing, and they don't want their kids to miss out. So yeah, take those student loan debts. It's gonna be worth it in the long run. And meanwhile, they're hitting up their parents and grandparents for money because the student loan debts are getting out of control. Oh, here it is. Average student loan debt by state. Wow, Florida is more than 25 grand. California is obviously more than 25 grand. Then you got New York, Massachusetts. Was that Vermont? No, Maine. You got all kinds of states up there. And then you got Pennsylvania there. Michigan. Michigan's yellow. All these guys here are this weird green. Anyways, guys, I want to know what you guys think about this whole student loan fiasco. Elizabeth Warren with this whole student loan thing. What do you guys think? I would like to know. Please, please, please. Your comments mean a lot to me. If you didn't go to college because you couldn't afford to, I didn't go to college because I couldn't pay for it. And it would have been a waste of money for me. I look forward to reading your comments below. Thanks for watching, guys.